Hello and welcome. It's good to have you with us at this hour. I'm Daniel Che. We begin at the nation's top office. President Park Geun-hye is seeking ways to overcome the dual challenges of the economy and national security confronting Korea. Shin Se-min starts us off.
President Park Geun-hye has turned her attention to the economic and security issues facing the country and is expected to emphasize these in an ongoing series of policy briefings from the members of her cabinet that began last Thursday and end later this month. On the economic front, the president is expected to press for action on her reform drive in 4 key sectors of the economy: the labor market, public sector, education, and finance. She has been calling on lawmakers to pass a series of pending economy-related bills and is expected to do so again this week. She says the reforms will help the government tackle the current economic uncertainties, in part through job creation initiatives. President Park is also expected to ask her cabinet to seek ways to strengthen domestic security in the wake of North Korea's 4th nuclear test, while also fine-tuning the South's response to the provocation. She has been calling for stronger, more comprehensive sanctions against the regime, and in particular is urging the North's longtime ally China to play its part in pressing the regime to give up its nuclear ambitions. Meanwhile, the presidential office of Cheong Wa-dae earlier expressed that it is preparing for any potential provocations from the North, including cyber terrorism. Shin Se-min, Arirang News.
South Korea's rival political parties are set to resume negotiations on a series of pending bills and redrawing the country's electoral map ahead of a parliamentary election in April. Ruling Saenuri Party floor leader Won Yu-cheol and his counterpart from the main opposition, Minju Party of Korea, Lee Jong-geol, will meet Monday to seek common ground on those and other topics. Later in the week, they will meet with Speaker Chung Yu-hwa to set the agenda for the remainder of this month's extraordinary session. Meanwhile, on Tuesday, the ruling party and the presidential office will hold the first policy review meeting of the year. They're expected to discuss ways to pass the list of long pending bills, which include a contentious labor reform package, a bill on the service sector, and a tax credit for companies that undergo restructuring. International sanctions on Iran have been lifted after UN inspectors confirmed Tehran's compliance with measures to curb its nuclear weapons development. The move reconnects Iran with the global economy, as billions of dollars of its banking assets will be unfrozen and its oil reserves can be traded freely with the whole world. For details, let's turn to Kwon Jang-ho.
Iran is back in the market after the US and European nations lifted sanctions on Tehran and released billions of dollars of its assets. The go-ahead was given after the UN's nuclear watchdog submitted a report confirming Tehran had kept the nuclear promises it made in a historic deal with the international community 6 months ago.
Agency inspectors on the ground verified that Iran has carried out all measures required under the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action to enable Implementation Day to occur.
Implementation Day refers to the day the accord went into effect. To get there, Iran reduced 2/3 of its nuclear centrifuges, dismantled a heavy water reactor near the town of Arirang, and shipped out or diluted 98% of its stockpile of low-enriched uranium, all of which could be used to create nuclear weapons.
Its proper implementation will be a key contribution to improved regional and international peace, stability and security.
The announcement came a day after the US and Iran traded prisoners in an apparent goodwill gesture before the sanctions were lifted. The US released 7 Iranian nationals held for sanctions violations, while Iran released 5, including a Washington Post reporter who was held captive for over a year. Soon, Iran will regain access to $100 billion in frozen assets and reconnect with the international financial market. The news pushed Iranian stocks up to their highest level in more than 5 months. Meanwhile, the IMF has said the nation's GDP growth could reach 5% this year, up from its current near 0%. But global oil prices are set to plummet further than the current 11-year low, as the world's 4th largest oil reserve is about to flood the market with almost 500,000 barrels per day. Tehran has not been able to sell oil to Europe since EU sanctions were implemented in 2012. The international community will continue to keep an eye on Iran as part of the deal. The International Atomic Energy Agency has installed devices to monitor its uranium enrichment activities, and sanctions related to human rights abuses remain firmly in place. Kwon Jang-woo, Arirang News.
South Korea's foreign ministry has welcomed that move, saying it will further promote reciprocal cooperation with Iran. The ministry also said Sunday it will encourage the Iranian government to help international efforts towards the denuclearization of North Korea. Foreign Minister Yoon Byung-se also sent a letter to his Iranian counterpart Mohammad Javad Zarif, congratulating him on the lifting of the sanctions, saying it serves as a lesson for the Korean peninsula. Korea's trade ministry has also released a statement saying it will lift restrictions on the trade of oil, cars, and other items between the two nations. It also said that a bilateral committee on boosting economic cooperation will be reactivated in December. The UN Security Council could make progress on a new sanctions resolution against North Korea sometime this week. That's according to Seoul's foreign ministry in a statement on Sunday. South Korea, the US, and Japan have already said they will pursue strong and comprehensive sanctions against the regime following its recent nuclear test. China has agreed to support stronger sanctions against the regime but called for a suitable response. The UN body held an emergency meeting following Pyongyang's claimed hydrogen bomb test earlier this month. Secretary General Ban Ki-moon condemned the regime, calling the test profoundly destabilizing for regional security. The North is already under an array of sanctions for previous nuclear tests in 2006, 2009, and 2013. Despite boasting of breakthroughs in its weapons capabilities, North Korea lags far behind South Korea in most other fields. According to a new report by the Korea Development Bank, or KDB, the output of most northern industries is about 10% of their southern counterparts. The report says that while the North's IT, tourism, and service industries have shown some growth, its shipbuilding, auto, fishing, and finance industries have taken significant steps backward. In terms of technology, Pyongyang's industries are frozen at a level Seoul surpassed in the 1980s. The lack of development can be seen in a recently released clip of a power plant construction project on Baekdusan Mountain. The clip by the North's state-run Korean Central Television shows makeshift wooden structures instead of metallic ones and shovels and human labor in place of heavy machinery. The report says to make progress, the North needs to improve its labor management systems and be open to greater inter-Korean cooperation. Korea's former finance minister is the latest addition to the team from Korea heading to this year's annual World Economic Forum meeting in Davos. According to Seoul's foreign ministry on Sunday, ruling Saenuri Party lawmaker Choi Kyung-hwan leaves for Switzerland this week. As a special presidential envoy, Choi is expected to deliver his opinion on the economic situation in the region and the world. On the sidelines of the forum, the former finance chief is also set to meet with the founder and executive chairman of the World Economic Forum, the president of Switzerland, and India's finance minister. The four-day forum kicks off Wednesday at the Swiss ski resort and brings together thousands of political leaders, government officials, and business executives from around the world. Over 400 people have reportedly been abducted by Islamic State militants in Syria after a bloody battle in the eastern city of Deir al-Zor. The Syrian Observatory for Human Rights, an independent monitoring group based in the UK, reported the abductions, but it has yet to be verified by other sources. According to the London-based group, the battle has left at least 85 civilians and 50 government troops dead, with Syrian state television saying the death toll is even higher. ISIS fighters are said to have stormed the city with suicide bombers, followed by a ground assault. The Syrian government forces responded with airstrikes and heavy artillery. Deir al-Zor has been one of the several towns under siege, and the ongoing war has left much of the city devastated. Shifting gears to a different story now, a good night's sleep is priceless. You feel rejuvenated with it. Without it, you feel like running on fumes. The reason has to do with a housekeeping system the brain uses to get rid of toxins that could be dangerous to your health. Han Daeun tells us more about the importance of getting your Z's.
Sleep is essential for health, but why exactly do we need to sleep? One of the reasons is to clear toxins from the brain. During waking hours, toxins build up in the brain, which can interfere with memory and learning. But when we sleep, The brain flushes these neurotoxins out through the glymphatic system.
The glymphatic system is activated during sleep. Brain cells shrink to open up the gaps between neurons and allow fluid to wash the brain clean.
Back in 2013, a team at the University of Rochester Medical Center that did studies on mice found that the glymphatic system became 10 times more active when the mice were asleep. And last year, UC Berkeley scientists found that the buildup of toxic proteins caused by a lack of sleep can damage the brain, potentially contributing to the development of Alzheimer's disease. We spend about a third of our lives sleeping, and sleep plays a direct role in the other 2/3 of our lives. So it's easy to see just how important a good night's sleep can be. 한다은, 아리랑 News.
And now the weather. If you're in Korea, dress warm and have your mask ready on Monday. Seoul will start the day at a frigid -5 degrees Celsius, Chuncheon at -4, and Daejeon 3 below zero. The mercury won't move far, with Seoul rising by just 1 degree Celsius, Chuncheon to -2, and Daejeon 1 below zero. It's going to be a bone-chilling week all around, with fine dust levels going up as the week begins. That's Korea for you. Let's check out the weather conditions in your neck of the woods and around the world. That's our newscast for this hour. As always, thank you for watching. 예. 왜 그럴까요? 예. -4로 시작해요, 서울을. 예.